last time we did this, it was all kind of crazy issues. I had to keep getting codes sent and it just was not working well for me, but I think it's being nice to me. Yay! We are live, ladies and gentlemen. I'm gonna go ahead and share this. Share this on Facebook with everyone. If y'all have any people that you want to share it with, it is now up and live. You can find it on the YouTube page and just post it for all to see. Perfect, perfect, perfect. All right, we'll give it a few minutes for people to trickle in. You got it working now. Y'all, you really got to understand. I'm so excited at how smooth this was compared to the last time. I was panicking together last time. I think we started almost 10 minutes late because I couldn't get it figured out. But praise God, redemption. Got it for the last time. It worked. Oh, yeah. 8 o'clock. I'll probably give it another minute just to let people catch on up since we're just now logging in. Everybody had a great day. Long, tired. How you feeling?
Okay.
It's good. It's good.
Good day.
That's cool. That's cool. And I get it. I've been painting at camp all day today, so I'm pretty worn out myself.
Hey.
But feeling a little better. Like it's good. Well, just for the sake of time, I know we'll have more people kind of trickling in, and it'll be posted on YouTube page for whoever to go back in and look at it later if you have people and friends you want to share it with after the fact. But welcome everyone to our third Covenant Family live Zoom family reunion. Even if they're not really family, we're all family in Christ. So welcome back. Glad to have all y'all. Appreciate you joining us tonight. If you could just go around each family, just kind of reintroduce yourself so that the people know, let us know, where you're living, your names, what you do, how long you've been married. We can start with the Grimmets and then work down to the Veals and the Hires, kind of how you are on the screen. So yeah, go for it.
It's Tim and Nancy Grimmett. We live in St. Louis, Missouri. I have done many different things, but currently I help teach people how to buy investment property. I flip property and we do all those sorts of things. I was a pastor at one time and pastored about 5 years here in St. Louis. So been in and out of a lot of different things, business primarily, a lot of different business aspects. And I'll let Nancy tell her story and the kids and how long we've been married.
I'm Nancy Grimmett. I was a school social worker for 28 years for the special school district here in St. Louis, and I just retired a few years back. And we have 3 daughters. Our oldest is Kayla, who's 26, and we have a set of twins, Rachel and Jessica, who are 24, and they both worked at Kids Across America. So we've been married almost 30 years. December will be 30 years.
Wow, that's awesome. It's beautiful. Love it.
I'm Jonathan Veal. This is my wife, Shantae Veal. We currently live in Oklahoma City. We've been married for 22 years. We have 5 kids, ages, the oldest just turned 22 yesterday. We have a 17-year-old, we have a 15-year-old, and we have a set of twins as well, a boy and a girl, and they are 14. So we have 4 boys and 1 girl. and they've all grown up in camp. Uh, so I own a leadership development and a business development firm called Built to Bridge Management Group. Also work with a nonprofit based in Northeast Oklahoma City called Restore OKC. So I'm over there, employment and business development as well.
Oh, I'm Shantae. He already said that. Okay, I am a relief pharmacist, and then we also homeschool, and so that's what I spend most of my time. Well, at this age, they kind of teach themselves. So we do homeschool, and then do all those things with Jonathan, all those things he does. We do it. Some of it together. Yeah.
It's okay. We just gonna attribute it to okay. We're just tired, that's all. Hires family.
We are the Hires. It's Kyle and Kim. We currently reside in Atlanta, Decatur, Georgia, just outside of Atlanta. We've been here for about 4 years now. Yeah, literally to the date almost. We met Chanel in Tallahassee, Florida. And we were there at church together, and she was in our life group. So it's good to see her grow up and do this and blossom to the beautiful flower that she is. And we have one son. His name is Blake, and he is 8 years old. And we have been married for 10 years this December. So I'm a culinary arts teacher, and I'm also a personal chef with a catering business.
And as he said, I'm Kim Hires. I'm a professor at a university here in Atlanta, and
So some technical difficulties.
Frozen.
Kim, would you mind kind of re-saying that the second part? You froze for a second.
oh, me? I froze?
Yeah.
Okay. I also own a leadership development coaching and consulting firm where I work with mid to senior level leaders across different industries.
Just like to say, this is just a group of boss level people that I aspire to be like when I grow up. Y'all are awesome inspirations to me, and I appreciate it. So I think it's perfect that we get to have y'all on here to talk about conflict and finances and just trials and all that, because those are very prevalent, very practical in a lot of ways. It's the things that you, I'm sure, deal with a lot within your personal lives, within your relationships. And so who better to get some insight on these situations from than y'all? So we're just going to jump into it. A couple questions, like I told you before, I had from some people. And if anybody, in the comments, you feel like you want to drop some questions in, we would love to answer them, throw them in there. We'll dialogue about it. But the first one is they want to know what causes the most conflict in your marriage specifically. Like what specifically causes the most conflict, and why do you think that is a thing that keeps coming up? Whoever wants to answer that. I'm not going to be specific to him.
I'll go. I think conflict changes, at least in our house, it changes during the season that you're in.
Right.
Whether it's younger kids or older kids, you're just trying to birth your business. All of those aspects bring on different challenges at different times. We've kind of gone through quite a lot of the major issues. We had train wreck in our past, both with me and what I've done, and then physical health challenges we've had, business challenges, bankruptcy, going through that, starting all over from your business and from scratch, reestablishing yourself, your credit, your name, your business. So there's seasons of all of that cause you to stand back to back, and sometimes you stand face to face and attack each other and realize that your enemy is not your spouse. But it just takes commitment that no matter what comes up, you're going to pull together and move forward. And sometimes that isn't the easiest to do, but I think we've pretty much learned how to, really assess the true problem and the real issue and really be teammates and try to attack it moving forward. So it didn't look like that early on, trust me. But
Yeah, because it could be money management, time spent with each other, the kids. It could be a lot. Like Tim said, it may have been different when we were younger, and now that we're older, I don't even know, what it is that we argue about now. It's less. Thank goodness, it's less now. But money is sometimes a big thing. Money management, and anyway, that's one of the things.
Yeah, just to add on to that, not only the different seasons, but also individually the different seasons, stages of life as well. I know there are times over the course of our marriage where I have been selfish, and there may be an issue that arises, and I want to win that battle. And so I take on an immature mindset, and in that, instead of being able to calmly address the conflict that is maybe simple, it is magnified because I take on a selfish mindset and immature state.
Yeah.
I would say the greatest.
Husbands. Okay, I was gonna say. I need to chime in.
Oh, the greatest. I was trying to figure out. At first, I was gonna say the children. Like, just if it's discipline the children, I just need you to get them. Can you get them to do this? They're not listening to me. They won't do their math. Something like that. Can you do something? But then I thought, really overall, if I look at all 22 years, yes, I would say more some kind of breakdown in communication.
Mm-hmm.
For a long time, I thought, y'all see how Jonathan's nodding his head, like some of y'all are nodding your heads. So for a while, and I still do it sometimes, I have to remind myself, but for a while, I thought that this was a nod in agreement. This and he's nine, and it's like, now this is what that means, and he's nine. And then I come to find out, this just means it's just an acknowledgement. I'm hearing, I'm listening, I hear what you're saying. So that's been the argument to the point where at times I would be like, you lied. Like, that was just a lie. You said yes. He's like, I did not say yes. Yes, you did. Oh my God. So, and I finally had to say, what does it mean when you do this? Do you, so, and even now I have to remember or come back to conversation and say, okay, are you nodding in agreement or just acknowledging what I'm saying? I have to ask that. So that's caused a lot of.
That's so great to know.
That's good.
Hires, did y'all want to add anything to that, or y'all?
No, I echo the husbands as well, and it's good to know that we are not in this battle alone. We too, I've had my selfish seasons. That was when we were in Florida. I was coaching at one of the top schools in the country, and I was like, yeah, and my son was a newborn at the time, but I was like, hey, me coaching can lead to something greater. And she was like, yeah, it can lead to you being at home with your son. And so I didn't realize that I needed to reprioritize some things in my life, especially since I wasn't getting paid for coaching. And I was a new father. So just learning those things, learning her cues and what made her tick. And, that was, like you said, early on in the marriage. And then, same thing with finances and building our businesses from scratch, as Tim mentioned earlier. It's just, you really just go through seasons of conflict in different categories and different stages. So
learning to believe the best in each other. Right. So if we communicate and something doesn't seem quite right, learning to assume that, he isn't trying to intentionally be hurtful, but there's a breakdown in communication somewhere. So, just learning. And now we're at the point where I'll go, well, did you mean when you said this? And he'll be like, no, I meant, this is what I meant. and we'll go over, because you're different and you hear things differently, you receive things differently. So when in doubt, just ask. So that's been a huge learning lesson for us in our marriage.
Yeah, that's good. Good to know. The Archigas have just joined in. Hello, welcome, Ray and
Hey guys.
Sylvia's around there somewhere, but they are here. Welcome in.
I just got back from the office, believe it or not.
And he's enjoying his dinner as he was. But y'all kind of brought up a few of you kind of touched on something that is actually a follow-up question. How often do you find yourself having conversations about the way you have conversations? Like, I know Miss Shantae mentioned, like, okay, yeah, you're nodding your head, but like, this is what you're communicating to me. Or when you said this is how I felt about this. Like, how often do you find yourself having those conversations of just trying to even break down communication that you're trying to have in communication?
Anywhere from daily to weekly, depending on the season.
trying to decode and decipher the silent treatment sometimes. Like, are you just thinking, or did I do something wrong?
So we
I
learned
had to
to
ask.
ask.
Yeah.
You ask.
No, not at all. I'm just thinking about all the stuff I have this week. I'm like, oh, okay, good. You know.
Good to know.
Or even for me, as Shantae is talking, I have to ask the question: do you actually want me to do this, or you're just get it all out right now? Right now, I'm just letting it out, but then at some point, I want you to do it.
Right.
Same situation, trying to understand what he says, and I'll be like, are you serious, or are you trying to say this, or what are you trying to say? You know, because I never know if he's serious or he's joking, or he's like, I want you to do this, and I have to be like, what? You know, it's just so yeah, that happens. Like they said, it could be a daily conversation or once a week. We're talking about communication is the big issue sometimes, a lot, to figure out what each other is saying or not saying to each other.
Or the reinterpretation.
The interpretation of it, yeah.
Of what was said. And that happens probably a lot where, especially like we're working together and we're trying to give corrections, you know, where something is, and you say on the shelf, and somebody may be looking under the sink, and it's like, what did I say? And then, you know, you questioning, like, I'm like, you know, so there's just different things. Or she tell me something, and it's like, did I miss something? So that goes on and on every day. And after 30 years, you think we have some more of that figured out than we do. And our kids just laugh all the time because they're like, what did y'all just say? So it goes on, but it's pretty comical here. And I do tease her a lot and just, you know, so she's like, is he serious? Is he not serious? It's just laughing, having fun.
At this point, I don't know if I should feel encouraged or start to feel ready for battle as I'm preparing for this marriage, because I'm like, Lord, here I am just thinking, oh, this is the beginning phase. You're just learning all this communication stuff. It's like, no, this never ends. Okay, great. Good to know I'm not crazy in that. This is helpful. Ray, did you want to add anything about you and Sylvia, how often y'all kind of have that dialogue?
So, you know, Sylvia and I went to an intensive marriage retreat here in Branson through, I guess it's focused on family now. And one of the things, you know, because after so many kids and so many years, it was just really, I mean, communication was a key. And one of the things for me, I'm a fix-it guy, you know, so I want to fix everything. I want to kind of respond to, I got this. And before really listening, I'm already adjusting to how to fix it. And because I'm in that mode and that mindset, I wasn't really listening to what she was really communicating, what was really needing to be fixed and really what just needed to be heard. So at the intensive, it taught me how to even better communicate with Sylvia, like, because I can focus in on what she's saying. And I'd have to stop and go, okay, so you're saying, you're feeling, and then she would either tell me yes or no, because I would also want to hear what I feel like I'm hearing, and it could be totally. And so I had to stop, and it taught me how to do that. And so we've been practicing those tools, kind of our toolbox. So because we also realize too, when we get into that, we go into a fear cycle that we tend to stay in, and then we begin to start pushing buttons, and the offenses begin to step in because we're not really listening. And so I've learned to just kind of like, okay, so what you're saying is, let me get this right. And vice versa, you know, because I don't want to assume anything. And I'm like, you assuming too, you know? So.
That's true. Lovely communication. Gotta love it. All right, praise God. It's fun. Just know if I ever call y'all going crazy, this is why. Communication piece. But we're gonna shift gears just a tad. So we talked about conflict a lot, and ironically enough, all of you in some way are business owners in some sort, like have had to deal with different issues financially, times you're up, times you're down, things of that nature. How have you as a family decided on how you budget like your finances? Like, what does that look like for you in going through the budgeting process? Is there one person who's kind of over the budgeting in your household and determining kind of how you make your business decisions in that sense? Like, what does that look like for you and your families? Not all at once. It's
Go ahead, Tim. He's the businessman. Tim has had, I don't know how many businesses. I have had one job my whole life. And Tim has had, I can't even count how many businesses that Tim has had. So we have lots of communication over his businesses and money. And he has his business accounts, but obviously he has to have some money that goes to the family account to help support the family. And some I know has to stay in the business to be reused and pay for stuff and buy things. And I get that. But it has, I don't know.
So how we have established this to help me, because I went through a coaching program where I know that females tend to have security with consistency of money coming in and how much is in the account.
Mm-hmm.
So what I did was set up a salary account to where it drafted out of that account every 2 weeks to pay my wife a certain amount of money every 2 weeks so that she could comfortably meet bills and obligations. Because in real estate, you may go 4 months without a paycheck, and then you sell a house, you got to buy a house, fix it up, and then sell it again. So it's not consistent, it's not regular. So that's what I did in order to help her be able to meet and deal with all the house bills. She handles all the house bills. I handle all the business bills. So I've got 8 checkbooks that I maintain and take care of and reconcile bank accounts. And she has 2 or 3 that she handles in the house. So that's kind of how we split it up. We do create a budget. We look at it about every 6 months. And that's how we want to spend our money. It's a whole lot sweeter now that all the kids are out of college and private school and all that. We just have a house to take care of and a dog. So that is making life better. And she's retired. So, but I still have feast and famine years where, last year was a great year. But this year in real estate has been very weird because I haven't been able to go out and interact with people. So it's really a flat year up until now. And I had a tree fall on one of my rental properties about 4 hours after I purchased it. And about 8 hours after that, I purchased insurance. So if that tells you anything,
wow,
it's not good, but we're back to that house. Out of our pocket.
Ooh, that's good. Noted. Okay. Anybody else want to share?
Wow.
No? Yeah.
I mean, I think with us, we started off so one of the things we did with our marriage, when we first got married, we were very clear on what we didn't want our marriage to look like. And then maybe about after our son was born, so 2-3 years in, we realized we never worked on what we actually wanted it to look like. So it was as if we were on 2 completely separate pages for a lot of things. So when it came to finances, I wasn't comfortable having all of the responsibility of everything. Because like I said in the video, I tend to be more morbid about things, and I'm like, well, what happens if I die? You know, you won't know where anything is. And so, and he was uncomfortable having conversations about the finances and so forth. And so we really had to find a happy medium. And so now we have our business accounts, we have our personal accounts through which we pay like our monthly expenses for our home and things like that. But we both know where everything is. And so we established one rule: any purchases under $200, we don't have to, you know, confer with the other. But anything over 200, just check in and make sure that nothing is getting to come out or get spent on something. So we established a threshold, and that's kept us, you know, very comfortable. Yeah, we talk a lot. Yeah.
That's good. Yeah.
Anybody else?
Within our business, my wife is an extreme high level administrator, and so she does a lot of the balancing of the books and even the taxes for our business. But on a consistent basis, you know, she'll allow me to execute operational stability of the business. So I feel like it's a good partnership there where she can make sure things are going on an even plane, and it's a good balance there. We balance each other out in a good way.
Man, we've had to learn so many ways. We started with kids off the bat, and so and not a lot of money, so a lot of it was just new. Nobody taught us how to budget or anything like that. Just growing up the way we did, but it got to a point where I remember one time Sylvia was watching Six Babies, and I think they were all under 7, and then. So taking care of that, I remember one time I was a youth pastor out of Oklahoma City, and she was taking care of the finances and everything, and the house and the kids, and just saw it overwhelming. I remember one time she came to me and says, "Hey, listen, could you just take over the finances and just do that? I don't want to have to deal with that and deal with the kid." And I was like, "Wow, really?" I mean, you know, I didn't just give me $20. I'm good, you know, for my allowance, you know, but it was like, take care of the responsibility. I remember going to a workshop for I think it was probably youth specialties, and I went to one of the workshops, and it was about finances and stuff. And they did the Dave Ramsey, but then somebody talked about, man, you know, how we just, sometimes, man, we put that pressure and put it on and not really. And so I took it as this is a way I can help her. And so from that point on, I ended up kind of doing our finances, and, you know, happily to say, I mean, you know, we've been transitioning for years, but, and just came across some really good situations, and Sylvia and I are debt free now. And so she's like, see, that's why I couldn't do the finance, because there ain't no way you'd be debt free. But, you know, one of the things I also learned was you had talked about, putting that money into her account. And I remember them also talking about Sylvia being a mom, and I come back and there's a value put on my life, because when I go to work, I get a check, and there's value in that. And for her, it's like she has to be dependent on me, and there's no money for her. So she feels just kind of like, man, I don't bring nothing but just babysitting. And so I remember just kind of going, wow, man, I did the same thing. I was like, look, I'll give you an account too. And I want to make it to where, man, you do have a great job. You do do a lot. And we're fortunate that you get to raise our kids. So I ended up having to, just like Tim, you know, giving her an account for her, and just letting her go do go that way. She didn't have to worry about nails, hair, you know, she can go massage, just do stuff. And there was just some appreciation and a value that she felt doing that. It was worth doing what she was doing. Because in reality too, y'all, I mean, the realness is raising 6 kids just wasn't fun a lot of times. You know, it was hard. It was hard for her.
So Ray and Tim, what you guys are saying is that I need to cut my wife a monthly check, right?
Hey, unless Shanta has a job, she got a job, she good. Tell her to cut you a check.
We have the same, it all goes to the same account, so I just withdraw whenever.
There you go.
Like, I will take my own. Thank you.
Yeah.
No, that's funny.
I might get more if you do that.
And speaking of that, that was actually another follow-up question. I'm assuming outside of your business accounts that you all have a shared bank account. But do either any of you have like separate bank accounts outside of your business ones? And if so, what are those typically used for within your marriages? Or is it only the shared and the business?
Yeah, for us, we just have the business account, and then we have the shared account that we have as a couple. So we just kind of always subscribe to the notion of we are one in physically, financially, and faith as well. I've heard so many negative stories about separate accounts. Not only separate account, then the separate account has a different account as well. I've seen and experienced others where that's not healthy long term. At some point, there's a level of mistrust that takes place. So for us, in my house, we have a business account, and we have a personal account that we share together, and we share all those accounts together. She has all access to any of those accounts. So.
That makes sense.
What we do, we have seasons pretty much, with our businesses too, because like I said, I do catering, but it's not steady, so when I have an event or when I do an event, she'll mess around and be like, hey, I need to borrow, $500 for whatever. Or if she does, as Jonathan knows as well, doing consulting, she'll do an event and I'll be like, hey, I need $500 for some groceries for one of my events. And she'll be like, okay, just make sure you put it back. And so we keep the lines of communication open across the business accounts as well, because we've learned not to commingle with our personal accounts early on. We tried to let everything flow through the personal account, and that was not wisdom. That was not wise. So we quickly learned that the business accounts have to operate as businesses. So, that's what we try to stand on now. So,
and with not keeping accounts separate, part of being married is the ability to be naked and unashamed before your spouse. And if you're hiding aspects of yourself, nothing good comes from that. And a huge part of, how we operate with our money speaks volumes about where our heart is. And if I can't trust him with money or he can't trust me, then that's a huge problem.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah, I agree. We have our family accounts. He has his business accounts, but my name is on all those accounts too. So I have access to them too. I don't know, like I said, so he makes it sound like I have a separate account. I really don't. It's our family account. He's on it. He's on that account, but I pay all the bills out of the family. And then he has his business accounts. My name is on there too, and I have access. He will show me anytime it's in there too. I just don't mess with them because, those are his business stuff. So it's the same way. We try to keep it. We don't have anything separate where the other person can't see what's in it, because you're right. That just kind of breeds distrust and what's going on and why can't I see that money kind of thing. So I agree. It's all open between both of us. There's nothing to try to keep hidden.
Yeah, that's awesome. So there was a question that was presented, and we'll be wrapping up in the next few minutes here. So what many people don't know is that our episodes that we filmed with Covenant Family, all of these videos were kind of pre-recorded a while ago. And there was a question presented with the last couple episodes just about the way the pandemic has kind of affected your marriage and your family and such. And I know the Hires and the Bills didn't get a chance to necessarily share that in their videos, but has there, if you don't mind, the two of you just kind of sharing a little bit what this pandemic has kind of been like for you and your family, specifically your marriage, how it's affected it either negatively or positively, and then with our other two families, if there's been any change since with the last update you given. If it's not, then it's not. But if I could just have the Hires and the Bills just share a little bit about what this pandemic has kind of been like for your family and your marriage and where you are today.
Or do the Veals, would you like to go? We yield.
Well, so for us, we believe it's definitely brought our family together and stronger. It's birthed a level of creativeness that we haven't seen before. We've actually brought a little bit more structure to our family as well. I'll just even give an example for meals. So each child now has a day of the week that they cook. So that's relieved a lot of pressure off my wife from having, to plan out the meals. And they're all teenagers now, and so they all have the ability to cook. And even personally, I've been able to cook more than I've ever done before because life has slowed down for us in a positive way.
Yeah.
Just spending quality time around the table, getting to know each other in a more in-depth way. Prior, we have time around the table, calendar time once a week. But now that time has been extended. And so we've definitely taken advantage of that. What else?
I would say there's been good and bad. I know just with everything kind of shutting down and deciding, as far as quarantine, as far as how we have different COVID sensitivities, as we call it. So even just coming into agreement on where to go, when to go, can they go play basketball? Can we go down to the cage and play basketball with strangers? So it's just, that's been kind of tough because I know some of us are on extreme, but there's still some differences there, and even like going to visit parents. So there's been some tension there. And then, you get the kids in the mix with their opinions. So they know which parent is a little more freer than the other, so it's just, oh, mom, it's fine. It's fine. It'll be fine. And all this stuff. So
you guys are laughing as if you know which side you're talking about for some reason.
And, the side I didn't give it away at all. I was just
and then job-wise, business-wise, because part of Built to Bridge was we were doing airport transportation from downtown to the airport. So that shut down completely. So that was a stream of income that was down. And then even just working as a relief pharmacist, I hadn't been able to get shifts because the company had started cutting down. And so I was low on it's just if we need you. So when everything else hit, of course, they needed more. So I've been able to pick up more hours. So it's like a pandemic, you're supposed to stay home and you're going, so it's just kind of wrestling through that. So God's been faithful in that where we would lose income on one. And so it balanced out on there. So that's definitely, and then, again, he said the creativity. Early on, I was like, well, no, I'm not going to go order pizza. You can make some. So we've gotten homemade pizza. We started saying COVID-19 and 19 pounds we will gain by the end of it. Because just more, there's more cooking and eating going on, but with the kids, but it's been.
That's funny.
And then the other thing that came out of it is we started a little backyard kids club in the backyard. And we went through this curriculum called Young Peacemakers. So our kids who have been through it twice, I usually threaten them to go through it again when they're not getting along. So this time, instead of us going through it again, they're teaching it to the kids it's in the neighborhood. So that's so once a week, twice a week actually, they do the lessons and then we do some type of recording of it or something. So it's been, tough in some ways, but then also just a lot of blessings and good memories mixed in. Yeah.
That's what's up. That's cool to hear. What about you, hires?
Um,
Got you. Yeah. Well, while we're waiting for their signal
so
connected
good.
again.
Did I?
There they are.
Wait, Kim, there you are. It cut off again.
No, what I was saying was we actually had this conversation yesterday that even in the midst of everything, even when things were hard, we still have so much to be grateful for. It has certainly brought us together. I love spending time with him. At ultimately, we really like each other and we get along, and it's fun to be able to hang out as much as we do. We're both able to work from home. And for our son, we made the decision to homeschool him. And it's been like, oh, really? I'm gonna homeschool, wrapping my mind around that and being okay. But
She might be reaching out, Shantae.
yes. But God has just been so good. Business has been great. One of my particular areas is with leadership burnout. So it's been a very salient topic with the coaching and consulting right now. And he's pivoted his catering business and does, meal preps for families that are tired of being home and cooking.
I'd be there for you, Jonathan, if we were in Oklahoma City, but a little far away.
But I mean, to keep us all healthy, we just can't stop praising God. God has been good. It's been good. Yeah.
That's awesome. Good to hear. So, Ray and Grimmets, like I know you guys gave your updates in your segment, but have there been any changes in just the effects that this has had on your family since?
A little bit. We had a COVID scare because like the twins are home with us now and they're working from home.
Mhm.
Even though one has a job in Chicago and one's in St. Louis, but they're just working from home and they've been staying with us. And they went to a bachelor. One of their friends is getting married, and then they were exposed to COVID. So then one of the girls came up positive, but not one of our girls. We had that kind of tense of, is someone going to have this COVID? So they took the test, and we had to have the quarantine and don't go anywhere kind of thing. But it turned out to be negative. So that was good that no one ended up with it, but there was that little bit of scare that someone might have it. But otherwise, COVID's been fine. Actually, it's brought us together. I'm helping Tim out on the houses if he needs something painted or fixed or cleaned up. I just go with him and help him out, like we did today. So it hasn't been a bad time at all. It has brought up differences, like you said, from what the kids want to do from what we do, because we're a little bit more laxed about it. And actually, they're a little bit more strict about it. You shouldn't go out. You should, we're going to go to the store or we're going to wear a mask. But they just, they get more upset about it than we do,
Where we live currently, it's kind of on the outskirts of St. Louis. And it's kind of like COVID, what? I mean, because when they didn't, there was no mask, no nothing. Home Depot, I'm going to Home Depot every day. There's no mask, no nothing. The only thing you had to do was go in one door and out the other door. That was the only precautions they pretty much had. So,
But
now it has changed. But during the heat of it, it was like, building is essential. So you can go to Home Depot. That was it.
Well, there's that. Well, what about you, Ray? Any changes, or y'all still pretty much in the same place?
Yeah, but we wear masks now. Chanel and I have to wear masks when we're around people because we did venture out. But it was good. We went to a group went to Chicago. Then we did our K Connect to go visit group leaders and stuff. And so we went to Chicago. It was amazing. But man, we're sitting there talking to some of the collectors. We don't know where we're at. We just know we're masking up and we're gloving up, right? Where I am. And we're in like, they're going, yeah, this is the highest COVID community in Illinois and Chicago. I'm like, wow. And so we're really like, at least we're practicing, but man, they were going, it was just really encouraging to see the Lord. And actually it was a church, and how the church was really serving that community without even being in like, and it was a very highly Latino gang community. I mean, it was just awesome. And listening to their hearts. And then we went to St. Louis and Chicago. We met Chanel, St. Louis and Kansas City. And then came back, and we're going out to camp, and we have to be 6 feet from everybody, social distancing. My daughter is a teacher, and so she is like, I've lost my sense of taste and my sense of smell. We're like, oh Lord, don't come home. Don't come this way. She's in Arkansas though. But she's a teacher, and like, they're going through that stuff. So that's really just the thing that, as we get ready for 2021 at camp session, and, that's just kind of been weird. We're so used to just doing camp, and it's like, we have 20 plans, 20 meetings, and every plan changes after every week. And there's no consistency, it seems like. And so just kind of hoping that we can get back to that, what we know to do. And, but that's kind of where we're at right now. The changes that have is continually, but for us right now, I mean, just leaving the office so that we can have a meeting tomorrow that brings clarity of what the next step is. And then, like I said, hey, this is on here, but that can change in a week, because y'all know we're at the whatever the public schools decide to do with you group leaders. Is school going to be pushed back? Is camp going to be pushed back? I believe that's going to be a good year with opportunities for us to be able to do things. But again, what's that really look like? We have to be cautious. So.
That's true. All right, y'all. I have one final wrap-up question. Oh, yes, Mr. Tim.
I have a request later on. Once we get offline, can we get numbers to everybody? Because we all kind of do coaching consulting, and I'd love to just kind of pick your brain offline or have another Zoom call some other time that's just us and talk freely. So I'd love to do that.
Absolutely. Yep. Absolutely. Definitely can have time of connecting. So yes, just a kind of final question I have for y'all. Personally, encourage yourself and your spouse when you're going through these seasons and times that are just really hard, and you personally just feel unmotivated, you don't really want to do anything, you don't want to dialogue. Hi, Sylvia.
Hi.
This is the one I was telling all the truth about.
So when you get into those moments, like how do you personally encourage yourself and encourage your spouse to kind of, overcome those things? Because trials come, conflicts happen. Sometimes you love each other, but you may not like each other, and times get hard, things happen in life. Like what does that look like for you individually? Just like, hey, Kim is really struggling right now, and I'm over it, but we obviously can't stay here forever. So what within each of your marriages, what does that dynamic kind of look like, and how you encourage yourself and your spouse when just having those down moments?
Since you used Kim's name, I'll go ahead. It's not been first, but I've learned to give her space and to give her time. And, I think she mentioned it in the previous video, when we do argue or, discuss, we, hold each other's hand. We try not to make sure we don't go to bed mad at each other. I think in 10 years, maybe 3-4 times where we may have gone to bed without saying goodnight to each other, but give each other space, give each other time, and then talk about it. Let her breathe. Give me time to think about it. Go to God and be like, all right, I can tell that she is about to unload on me, and I need to know what I should do in this, this situation. And a lot of times it's just like, give her some space, talk to her, let her know, whatever it is, I'm here to help you. Yeah.
I mean, I think one thing too we've noticed is, and we're grateful for it, we tend to take turns with those moments. So because both of us aren't attacked at the same time, the other one literally stands in the gap for the other one, right? So if I notice there's something going on with him, then it's like wartime prayer mode. We pray for each other constantly, but you can tell those seasons when something's not quite right. And also the same with me. So I think that's been something too, that we're both able to go to the Lord without the other one, but we're even that much more powerful when we can do it together.
Yeah.
So
That's awesome. Yeah. Anybody else want to share?
Well, I just agree with them. It's our faith that pretty much keeps us strong when there's a crisis or when you're in that mode. For me, it's all about praying and going to the Lord. Yeah, there's times that Tim might be mad. I need to give him space, and he needs to give me space, and we come back together, kind of thing. And there's been, like you said, plenty of times in our marriage that we've been mad at each other. And we've had some big issues, but it's always been we go to the Lord, we go to God, and nothing is impossible with God.
I would agree. And like you said, Kim, hopefully that you're not under attack together at the same time. And you can really be the support for the other one while the other one is down. And the other thing is you have to acknowledge that and let the other person know that this is not a good time. At least for the guys, at least speak for me, you want to shoulder it and everything's good. You're going to push on through. But there's just some days it's like, hey, this is not good. I went to work today. Everything went wrong. And you just come home and it's like, you just got beat up. And it's like, I just want some encouragement. And then I'll go back out tomorrow and fight again tomorrow. But today was just, I just throw your hands up. I don't have too many of those days, but when you do have them, you just want some encouragement for the next day to get up and go out, start all over again. But you got to acknowledge that, hey, it was a bad day.
That's fair.
So for me, first for us, we try to live. Not try. We live in we live in a community of accountability. So we have other couples that can speak into our lives, that can pull the switch out and whoop us, when we get out of line. And then individually, we have that as well, where if she feels like I may be drifting, I may not be listening or communicating at the level she needs. She has all these guys' phone numbers that she can go down the list and call and say, "Hey, your boy's not acting right.
Good boy.
Not doing right." So that helps from having outside accountability, but also internally. Anytime I cry out to the Lord about something that she's not doing, he quietly comes back to me and says, whatever she's not doing to you, that's what you did not do to me. And so it just quickly helps me to shift and think, if you think that she's treating you bad, just think about how bad you treated me, how unfaithful you were to me, how inconsistent you were to me, how undevoted you were to me. And so that shifts my heart back. And then I just shift that negative energy into serving her. So that helps me. So she loves when I rub her feet. So I'll just rub her feet until I can serve all that negative energy out of me and transition it into loving on her. So.
Good.
I'm probably guilty of phoning a friend quicker than I'm gonna be honest. I realize I phone a friend too quick sometimes. Like, okay, he did this or, something. And so I've been trying to go to the Lord first, even before him. I'm bad about going to him first too, and not being slow to speak, slow to listen. So I'm honestly still working on that. But I do have friends that will point me. I'm like, shoot, I should have just went to the Lord, because so I have had that. So I have some friends that'll, keep me on track and, remove the plank from your eye first before you can look at the speck in his type of thing. And so and it takes a lot to get Jonathan to the point. When he gets to the point where it's like, I'm done, or he's withdrawn, then I know that I've gone a little too far somehow, like, cause he doesn't get there that often. And I'm usually like, oh man, okay. And he's an encourager. Sometimes it's like we're on two extremes. Like I would say I have the gift of recognizing when things are out of order. He's so optimistic, and so where everything is like is in order. So we have that working for us too, which is we've got much better at that. So I don't even know if I answered the question, but that's that. Okay.
Shantae, I love you. I just need you to know. You are funny and I love it. It's great. But you didn't answer. I appreciate it.
Okay, good.
Okay, Archicus, you want to share?
Yeah, I think one of the beneficial things for us is we went to a Focus on the Family marriage counseling several years back. And I think there is where they taught us how to use specific tools in our marriage. And it's really crazy because once we were there, we were like, oh, that's easy. But then once we started to try it, it got hard. And it was about the fear cycle and pushing buttons and how to validate his feelings and how to validate my feelings, and realizing that our feelings really do mean something, and taking all those things out of our toolbox that we had learned in order just to, understand each other a whole lot more. And also knowing, like Mr. Tim said, sometimes you just have a bad day. Realizing that when Ray has those bad days, it's not a personal offense to Sylvia. Just because he comes home and it's been a bad day and he's grouchy and whatnot, I have to learn how to protect my heart and not take it as a personal offense. And that's my duty. And I can't put that whole responsibility on Ray. And so that was one of the things that we learned, was just being able to be vocal as well about our feelings. Like, I never knew there was so many feelings. I just thought it was happy and sad and mad, and but there's so many different feelings, of just feeling neglected, feeling, just all these things. And it was just really awesome just to know, like, wow, yeah, that's exactly what I'm feeling, or that's why I'm feeling sad, is because I feel A, B, C, D, E, and being able to explain those things to him. And so now it's gotten to a point to where we're about to be empty nesters, and our baby of 7 is going off to college. And so it's really cool just for Ray to walk in and me be able just to say, hey, you know what? I feel really sad today. Like, I don't know why, but I feel sad. But for him to understand, like, you know what, I may not be having a good day or whatever. So what can I do? Let's go for a walk or whatever. Knowing that I can understand my own feelings and protect myself and also protect his heart, like we're able to communicate a whole lot better, instead of me feeling sad, him coming in the room, saying something, and me being like, rawr, ready just to prounce and be like, you know what, you have no idea, instead we have learned how to communicate in a different way.
See, that was when that 4th baby came in and I come home from youth ministry, and that was that response. Like, ooh, what happened? How's your day been?
A mess.
But no, that's good. I think the heart talk that we have, and just learning that was really good, because again, when she said try not to take it personal was huge, because it was like, what did I do to make you feel grouchy and disengaged? Did I say something? Did I do something? It's like, no, you didn't do nothing. And just kind of going, okay, let me just process that. And then when you feel like sharing that with me, I'd love to hear about it. And then I may not hear about it, but then when we lay down, it probably would come out. But just appreciation of it. That's just tools that we just kind of learn from that and try to utilize them, and just the biggest thing is the fear cycle, just knowing when we're pushing buttons and we're just steady going there back and forth. And we constantly push them because this is how I want you to feel as a result of you pushing my button. And then we just stick around there. We just stay there. That's what they tell you, like in that thing, is just kind of like, man, it's hard to get out. How do we get out of that fear cycle? It's like we're just steady there and we're constantly nagging. We're constantly pushing. It's just like, wow, pretty cool stuff, y'all. And they do one-day things too, y'all. We could share that later on, as you said, Tim, getting the numbers and stuff like that. If there's ever things that we really encourage it. They do it at K now during the marriage. They do a marriage retreat down there. So y'all might want to look into that with Soup and them. It's pretty cool.
Rekindle. Yep. All right. Well, thank you so much, families. This has been great just to get some insight, and all the questions that were shared with me were answered. So we did good. We didn't miss anything, covered all of our topics. So kudos to y'all for being efficient in your responses and us being able to get through this. Yes.
You've been hosting this Covenant Family Reunion, right?
Uh-huh.
So can I take that hat for a second and pose a question to you?
Oh God.
Do it, Tom. Get her.
We family, right? We're family.
Yeah.
So since marriage is in view for you, right?
Uh-huh.
What is your greatest expectation in this marriage?
Greatest expectation.
Like, what is he looking forward to?
Yeah, what are you looking forward to?
Honestly, probably just the overall growth that I'm going to experience through it. I think I know that's one of the main reasons why I knew that Sean was someone that I wanted to marry, because even in us dating, I already saw the refinement starting to happen, and I hated it, but I it was good. All at the same time, like, this is so annoying. But I actually I'm seeing like the gunk in me that I tried to keep hidden for so long, like really just like coming to the surface. And I'm like, Lord, if this is what you're just doing in our dating, like I can only imagine what that's going to look like in marriage. And just kind of seeing our heart to, want to be involved in communities, wanting to serve, wanting to work with kids, wanting to be like just giving back in so many different ways, and being able to do that like with him in whatever ways it may look like. I mean, right now it's not like we're going into full-time ministry together or anything like that, but just being able to know that we have the same heart to, want to serve our communities and people around us, and just seeing what that's going to look like. I think that's probably the biggest thing that I'm kind of expecting to see what unfolds from that, because I have no idea. I just know the desire is there, and we're both open and willing vessels to see where the Lord leads in that. So that's probably the biggest thing, of just seeing how that looks together, when I've been used to just functioning in Chanel role and just going and doing. And I'm just like, oh, now I'm doing this. You're here. Okay, so now let's figure this out together. So now we're both doing this thing. But yeah, I think that's honestly the biggest thing. And I kind of did tell you I was coming to be your neighbor. That's actually not happening anymore. Forgot to give you that update. I'm actually going to Memphis. I'm so sorry. We can talk later. I'm so sorry.
I had so many plans for you.
I'm so sorry. It actually is a fairly recent change. I apologize. But yeah, so even in that, just like a door open to be able to start doing some of the things that we desire to do. And it's like, all right, well, this is where we're going. So we'll see how this goes.
You have a daughter in Memphis. You could look her up.
She wanted to be in between everybody.
Kayla and I have talked already. I was on the phone with Jefferson, and she started with him. So it's just like, hey,
you're in it. Yeah, you know it.
We're good. So yeah, that's my excitement.
Good answer.
Thanks. November, coming to you soon.
All right, so you
pray against Corona and that it behaves, and I can actually, have my wedding and stuff. But at this point, Florida just does what Florida want to do. So who knows what's going to happen. But yeah. So this has been fun. Y'all are great. I love all of y'all. And I'm so glad we got to do this. Thank you everyone who tuned in. Hopefully this was beneficial for y'all, helpful in some type of ways. I know it was helpful for me, so I'm sure it was for other people, and people come back and watch it. Like I said, y'all are welcome to tell your friends and family to go back and pull it up on our YouTube channel. It'll still be there forever and ever, so they can definitely go back to it. But good night to everyone. We're gonna end live, and if anybody wants any of the contact information, any of that from the panelists, if you just leave comments in the YouTube page or on Instagram or anything like that, we can definitely get it to you. That's not an issue. Other than that, good night, everyone. We're gonna end this live and